Assalamu alaikum. So today I'm going to start presenting a new book named God of Science, and the author of the book is Syed Hassan Raza Jafri. In this book, the author presents a worldview based on monotheism and attempts to answer some of the nowadays challenging questions. The book uses the Quran, hadith from various imams, and quotes from scholars, as well as scientific details to establish why utilizing an Islamic framework to understand our world does not compete with science, but rather bridges it with other forms of truth that cannot be quantified through the scientific method. So we're going to look into this book today, and this chapter one of the book, to be precise. The chapter one actually explains what is knowledge and what is the source of the knowledge. We want to know if God exists, and if He does, then what can we learn about Him? Before we get to the question of God, the preliminary step is to first learn about knowledge itself. How do we know what we know? Knowledge of one being can be acquired by another. This ability to acquire knowledge is variable and follows a hierarchical order. The higher beings have the ability to acquire knowledge of the lower beings. Example, we can learn about plants and animals, and this ability gives us a higher order in existence. Thus, the highest being in the existence, which is the source of all existence, should have knowledge of everything, and this is exactly what we learn about the most perfect being, that is God. Knowledge is ordinarily acquired by one of the following sources: sensory observations. So we're going to look into different ways we can acquire knowledge now. One is sensory observation. Perhaps the most primitive way of acquiring knowledge is by means of sensory organs like eyes. A newborn has no knowledge, not even language skills, and learns mostly by observing his or her parents and caregivers. Thus, the sensory organs help us to perceive our surroundings and explore the environment so that we can learn. The next one is communication, the single most important phenomenon which has helped mankind accumulate a vast amount of knowledge. Knowledge is the development of language. Through language, knowledge can be preserved and propagated. Communication can be both verbal, such as teacher imparting knowledge in classroom, or written, like reading a book. Third one is experimentation. Experimentation is fundamental to the scientific pursuit of knowledge. A scientific process involves identifying a particular problem and then posing a question and hypothesis about it. The hypothesis is then tested by performing experimentation to prove or disprove the hypothesis. Through the process, new knowledge as well as a new hypothesis and questions are generated. For example, if you wanted to know whether elephants have kids or not, then we can take a sample of elephants and dissect them to detect the presence or absence of kidneys. Thus, through experimentation, we can prove or disprove this hypothesis. And the fourth one is intellect and reasoning. Reasoning, or the use of intellect, is another very important way of acquiring knowledge. Reasoning is employed to make sense of knowledge acquired by other methods like observation, communication, and experimentation. Great insights and understanding are achieved by employing reasoning. For example, if you want to answer the same question as to whether elephants have kidneys or not, then we can attempt to solve it using deductive reasoning, or argument can look something like this: all elephants are mammals. All mammals have kidneys. Therefore, all elephants have kidneys. Intuition, like ilham, in Arabic, as they say, is a way of obtaining knowledge which can be experienced by many ordinary individuals as well. An example of it is when an idea comes into the mind from nowhere and gives a degree of certainty to a person, or it is an epiphany about something that clears the problem in the mind. Of course, this has to be differentiated from random thoughts that cross our mind. And another example is of intuition is a true dream. Revelation, or wahi, as we say, the highest form of knowledge that can be acquired by mankind, is way of direct revelation from God, or wahi. Very few selected individuals who have special favor and character have experienced this form of gaining knowledge. It is the most certain and the most accurate form of knowledge. There is no point of questioning if it's right or wrong. Whether it is about past events, future phenomenon, human nature, ethics, morality, scientific facts, and most importantly, about events that happen after death. The leading example of this is Quran. So these are the forms we acquire knowledge, and its sources. These are the sources of knowledge. This is all this chapter speaks about. In the next presentation, I'm going to present the chapter 2 of this book. Thanks for listening. Thank you.